I'd like to talk a little bit about this book right here, Twilight, from a guy's perspective. Now, I'd seen this book in stores, I've heard a lot of good things about it from my friends, but a lot of them are girls, and I wasn't sure if this was a book that I'd enjoy or if it'd be too romantic or what. So I looked into it and really just couldn't find any perspective from guys. So I decided to read it myself. Um, First of all, literarily, this book has a few problems that I don't really care for. It's a very linear story, and what I mean by that is it really doesn't go off in any directions. It's very predictable, and also the main character in this story, Bella, is a little too fragile. I understand girl not having athletic ability or something, but this girl can't walk without falling or anything, and that's just not really realistic. Now, from a guy's perspective, I just have to point out, first of all, that romance in this story is way too strongly pressed. I'll give you a little example of part of this from chapter 13. I don't know how long we sat without moving. It could have been hours. Eventually the throb of my pulse quieted, but he didn't move or speak again as he held me. I knew at any moment it could be too much and my life could end. So quickly that I might not even notice, and I couldn't make myself be afraid. I couldn't think of anything except that he was touching me. Now, that's just one example. There are many points in this story where it will actually break away from the story just to go into Bella's emotions and that. Um, Now, one thing you could kind of do to go around this is a lot of this is in chapters 13 through 15. You could just skip those completely if you want to avoid a lot of them cuddling and all that stuff. You'd also get the miss, like, where it talks about how stalkerish Edward is. Now, Edward is a vampire and he creeps me out, but that isn't because he's a vampire. It's because he's always watching this girl. He doesn't sleep, he just watches her out her window, and that's just creepy. Um, Now, later on in the story, this story actually kind of takes off about the last 150 pages or so. Uh, but it totally avoids the action of the story following Bella, and I believe that what could be done is maybe a counterpart of this story written from Edward's perspective. I think that would be a much better story for guys. Now, I've read a lot of stories where people fall in love in that and they weren't anywhere near as romantically written as this. And I think this book should have been written more neutrally so that guys and girls could enjoy it. But it really isn't. It really is a romance kind of story. And I don't really recommend it for any guys at all. So if you were considering reading it, go for it if you really want to, but know that it is a romance story, and if you just want to read about vampires, I'm sure there are plenty of other books that would be much better for you than this one. See ya.